Could the cornerback position be a strength of this Texas A&M football team? DC Bateman seemed to think so.
You are Locked On Aggies, your daily podcast on the Texas A&M Aggies. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome on in to Locked On Aggies. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak. Thanks for making Locked On Aggies your first listen every single day. Today, we're going to talk about some quotes from Texas A&M defensive coordinator Jay Bateman. On yesterday's episode of the show, we discussed some quotes from OC Colin Klein. Interesting stuff from the new play caller for the Aggies. Now, we're going to talk about some quotes from Bateman, the new DC. And this one quote really surprised the crap out of me. And I'm going to read to you what this says. It says, this is Carter Carroll's tweeted this. And he says, Texas A&M DC Jay Bateman talking about his time. That's the quote from it. He says, Jay Bateman said the length, big bodies, and speed at cornerback is really impressive. Said he has no idea who's going to start there. Said he thinks that group will become a strength for them. Oh, man. I tell you what. If corner is a strength for this Texas A&M football team, the Aggies are a playoff team. It's plain and simple. We know what you got in the front seven. We know what you got there. The issues defensively, the issues that we are concerned about are all in the secondary. And if this cornerback room can be good, I'm not saying elite. I'm not saying great. I am saying good. Texas A&M can win 10 football games. And, people are going to be quick to say, well, how is that? Your two concerns heading into the season are the secondary and the offensive line. We feel good about receivers, running backs, tight end, quarterback, front seven. Feel great there roster-wise. The concerns are offensive line and the secondary. If your corners can be really good, this Texas A&M football team can be really good. Looking at the corners, you bring in Des Ricks, you bring in Will Lee, you've got some guys back, you've got some young guys, you've got a mixture of older guys, veterans, and some young freshmen, some guys like Des Ricks who have played a year of college ball but haven't really seen, played a ton, like Ricks didn't see a ton of action at Alabama. That's what you've got here in your secondary and in your cornerback room. But there's a ton of talent there, and I think it's going to be up to this coaching staff, Bateman, and the rest of the defensive staff to get this corner room, this secondary, ready to rock and roll for the start of the season. We're concerned about the corners because of the way they played a season ago. This unit compared to that unit is way different. I think as fans, we often do this. Well, the secondary, the corners were bad last year. They'll be bad this year. Doesn't mean that, especially when you bring in, Saunders, Hill from Florida, Des Ricks, Will Lee. When you bring in all these guys, it's a brand new unit on top of the young guys you already had that can develop. This corner room is brand new with a ton of talent. And here's the deal. If this coaching staff can't get the best out of the talent, then it's just not meant to be. Des Ricks is a great football player. Will Lee is a great football player. Some of the young guys on the roster are really good. Some of your returners, the older guys. Chappelle, you have a talented corner room. It's going to be, can you get the most out of those guys? And that is going to be what makes or breaks this coaching staff. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the same thing we talked about a year ago with Coach Fisher. He has the talent. He has the guys. It's now about X's and O's, development. That stuff is what matters. You have the players on your roster. The question is, can you develop the talent you have and get this football team to the next level? So am I buying what Coach Bateman is selling on Texas A&M's second corner room being a strength of this defense, of this team? I don't know if I'm buying it quite yet, but I love to surround some hype. I mean, one thing I think I've learned being in a lot of press conferences and hearing from a lot of coaches is I don't think they're not going to lie about a ton of stuff. And what I mean by that is this. If he thought there were problems in the cornerback room, he'd go, there's a lot to figure out there. We don't know what direction we're going. We have a lot, you know what I mean? He was positive about it. I believe that. I believe that Coach Bateman believes this secondary can be good. Now, will it be good is another conversation. But I just think you're waking up on a Wednesday morning. You're sitting here you're an everydayer sitting here listening to Locked On Aggies like you do every morning, right? And you're sitting here listening to me talk about how good Texas A&M's cornerbacks can be according to this coaching staff. That should get you excited. Because if this corner room is good, once again, these cornerbacks are good, this team's going to be really good. Simple as that. So that's a quote that really got me excited, really got me fired up. Now I want to talk a little bit about, Coach Bateman coached with Coach Elko at a previous stop. So I wanted to talk about that. Another quote from Carl Carroll's here on Twitter. Coach Bateman talked about his time with Elko at Richmond, said they always stayed in touch over the years about scheme and philosophy, said they have similar personalities and defensive philosophies. I think that when you're the head coach, Elko is the head coach, he's been a DC for so long, you have to adapt to making coaching decisions. Are we going to punt? Are we going to try and get some points before the half? These type of decisions, the type of decisions that Texas A&M fans were on Coach Fisher about last season. Coach Elko is going to be able to make those decisions. While he's a defensive mind, and throughout the week, Coach Elko is, of course, going to put his input in there, talk about the defense. How can we be better? What's the game plan? Yes, during the week, he'll be involved in that. And during the game, he'll be involved in that. Halftime, changes to the game plan. He'll be a part of all that. But having a guy that he trusts, that he knows, he's coached with, he's chopped it up about scheme with for years and years and years, I just think that's going to make Coach Elko a little bit more comfortable with his staff, a little bit more comfortable letting these coaches make decisions. And I really do think you're going to see that help make this football team better. I think your head coach having comfort and ease in who his coaches are, knowing that he's going to be able to sit back and make these tough decisions while the guys coaching his offense and his defense are making good decisions. I think that's good. So, while it doesn't mean a ton, it's still a good thing to hear. The other quote that I wanted to talk about that really stood out to me, it's a name that continues to pop up, and it's Tommy Moffett. Coach Bateman said, really excited to get started. I think our kids have worked really hard. I think Tommy Moffett and his crew have worked with them really hard. What did we hear from Coach Klein? The same thing. Positive things about Tommy Moffett and what he's doing as the strength conditioning coach here at Texas A&M. This isn't a tough concept. Football starts in the weight room. Football succeeding in a few months on the football field starts right now with Coach Moffett in the weight room. If these players aren't conditioned well and aren't in good shape, you're not going to win football games. You're going to see guys go down with injury, all those different things. You have to be a well-conditioned football team in good shape if you want to succeed. And I think with Tommy Moffett running the show, you're going to see that become a reality. I can't sit here and reiterate time and time again, the hire of Tommy Moffett is going to be huge. If Texas A&M is able to stay healthy this year, Tommy Moffett is the reason why. He is a huge part of this staff, and he's going to be a huge reason why the Mike Elko tenure at Texas A&M is going to be a massive success. Everything we heard from Coach Bateman, everything we heard from Coach Klein, Coach Elko, every time I hear this coaching staff speak, I get more and more excited for the future of Texas A&M football. This program is in a great spot. This program is in great hands, and I'm telling you, this staff is going to take this program to the level it needs to be. We're going to talk a little bit about the tight end room. I've got some interesting thoughts and some based on a quote from Coach Klein and how important this room is going to be. We'll have that conversation coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at Better Together. Bracket already busted? Tired of the same old daily fantasy grind where you make a roster, cross your fingers, and hope for the best? Or losing on the last leg of your pick'em entry? Introducing Better Together, the first cooperative daily fantasy platform where teamwork triumphs talent and you can play with your friends, not against them. Pick more or less on real-time player stats, strategize with your partner to boost your odds, and climb the leaderboard together. So grab a friend and join the social DFS movement. Better Together is a way to stay connected with friends when gone are the days of watching sports together in person. Puts your group chat to the test and prove who knows the most ball. Ton of fun to be had over at Better Together. I highly recommend going and check them out. It is the best place to get in all of your daily fantasy needs. Download Better Together now from the App Store and sign up using promo code LOCKEDON for a free $5 entry into any NCAA basketball contest. Remember, that's code LOCKEDON because winning alone is fun, but it's better together. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Amazon Fire TV. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channel to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us here at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels let you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more. Keep up to date with all the latest in the world of sports, March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. So, the tight end room is going to be an interesting part of this roster. Listening to Coach Klein, we've heard from all the coaches about 5 days ago. Listening to Coach Klein, he couldn't stop talking about the tight end position. Of course, the tight end room as well. He seems excited about this room and this unit. And we said it when he came in. Coach Klein loves the tight end position. He loves to throw to him. He loves to block with tight ends. He likes to have gadget plays to tight ends. He loves using tight ends. And he reiterated that time and time again during his press conference. I think Coach Klein is excited about Texas A&M's tight end room. I think he knows how good this unit can be. I think he realizes he's got 5 guys who can be really, really good players. 6 guys if you include the freshmen. So I think Coach Klein feels really good about this unit, which is a good thing. I mean, here's the deal. You don't want a coach who cares so much about one position, that being tight end for Coach Klein. You don't want him to not feel good about a unit that he plans to use and use a lot next season. So, you've got Donovan Green, the transfers, Garrett Miller, Trey Watson, the sophomore, Jaden Platt. You've got Theo still sticking around. This is a unit. Then you got the true freshman, Carner. You've got so many talented tight ends on this roster. And I think what I love most about this unit is you've got guys who can do different things. Watson and Miller, the 2 transfers, both can catch the football and block. I do believe that Miller is going to be more of your blocking guy, with Trey Watson being more of the pass-catching guy. But Donovan Green is the dude in this tight end room. Y'all know how I feel about Donovan Green. I think he's going to have a massive, massive season. I think that he is now. Coach Elko did say during his part of the press conference, this tight end room is going to. Donovan Green is still coming back from injury. He's going to be extremely limited during spring practice. He's got to get back being right. He's got to get back to himself. Coming back from an ACL tear is not easy. We see this all the time in the NFL and college. It's tough to come back from ACL injuries and come back and be yourself. So, surgeries have changed. Doctors have changed. Medicine has changed to make these things better. But, it's going to take Donovan Green some time. You got to remember, his ACL tear came like the week of the first game. It was a real bummer. So, Donovan Green, you got to get him healthy. You got to get him ready to get on the field. I think he has a monster season, but, you're going to see a lot of reps from these other guys, from Garrett Miller, Trey Watson, Jaden Platt, and then, of course, Theo in spring practice with Donovan Green banged up and still trying to get back and get ready to rock and roll for the start of the 2024 season. So I think that you're going to see a lot of Miller, a lot of Watson, and a lot of Green. I tell you this, I like Jaden Platt a lot. I think he's a great tight end, and I think the future for him is bright. Now, the key here is this. We all know what it's like. We all know the new landscape of college football. Player like Jaden Platt, he goes, well, it's not looking up for me. I'm behind a whole bunch of guys. You do not want to see a player like Jaden Platt hit the portal. We talked about this with Marcel Reed, your quarterback. We feel great about Connor Bateman. We feel good about Marcel Reed. We feel good about Henderson. But at the end of the day, you still need Marcel Reed to stick around. Whether he's the third string, second string, you don't want him going anywhere because he is the future at quarterback. Same thing here with Platt. I think he's the future of this tight end room. And you don't want to see him leave after the spring, whenever. You don't want to see him leave ever, because I think he's got a bright future playing the tight end position ahead of him. And we're really hoping that is at Texas A&M. So, I'm excited to see what his sophomore year looks like. I think he's a good player. He's got rapport with Marcel Reed. You saw that those two did a lot well in the ball game. We saw them score a touchdown at one point in the year. So I'm excited about this room, and not just because I think this room is full of talent. I think the coaching staff did an incredible job in the transfer portal, but I also think Coach Klein is going to use these guys. I think you're going to see these guys block. You're going to see these guys catch passes. You're going to see these guys flat out do a lot, maybe help block in on some. They're going to go out for passes. This unit is going to be utilized at a high level by Coach Colin Klein. I think you're going to see Texas A&M become, as long as Colin Klein is the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M, I think you're going to see Texas A&M become a tight end producing school. We all know Iowa. You got your George Kittles, your Noah Fants from Iowa. We all know where you're getting the tight ends from. I think you could start to see tight ends come from Texas A&M. Wow, with Coach Klein here as the OC. He loves his position. I think the kid that was great, his name was Sinat last year at Kansas State. That kid, I think, is going to turn into a good pro thanks to the way Coach Klein utilized him. So I do think you're going to see Texas A&M's tight end room turn into a group that turn into it's going to be a hub for NFL tight ends. I think that Coach Klein is going to do that. So I'm excited for the future of this position. I'm excited to see how they recruit it going forward. I think the way Coach Klein is going to use this position, it's not going to be hard to sell the vision to highly ranked tight ends in the recruiting classes. That's just how well he uses the position. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. But Coach Klein is going to use these guys well, and Texas A&M has an extremely, extremely talented tight end room. The Aggies were able to get the win over Houston Chrisitan on the Diamond last night. We're going to talk about that win, who played well, takeaways from the game, concerns, things we're excited about. We'll have that conversation coming up right here on Locked On Aggies. but I want to tell you about our friends over at Nissan. This week's March Madness Bracket Highlight is brought to you by our friends at Nissan. Each week, we're picking one team that stands out, a team that's pushed it further than the rest, just like any of the all-new 2024 Nissan SUVs. These guys were able to take it to the next level. The NC State Wolfpack are obviously this week's Nissan Rogue. The team absolutely surprised us all with a powerful performance in their first two games in the tournament. Wins over Texas Tech and Oakland have set them up to play Marquette in the Sweet 16. They say win life, go Rogue. That's exactly what the Golden Grizzlies have done here, or the Wolfpack has done here, taking down the Golden Grizzlies of Oakland. Of course, Oakland was able to beat Kentucky. NC State takes down Texas Tech, and then they take down Oakland to move on to the Sweet 16. So, yes, the Wolfpack are this week's Nissan Rogue. Take the Nissan Rogue, Nissan Pathfinder, or Nissan Armada and go find your next big adventure. Shop NissanUSA.com today. Also want to tell you about our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. My contact is bothering me, ladies and gentlemen. That is okay, because the Aggies got the win on the diamond last night, 6-3 over Houston Christian. They out-hit Houston Christian 6-3 as well, same as the score. So this is a game where I'm going to harp on something I often harp on. I mean, is it getting annoying, ladies and gentlemen, hear me talk about walks? But I can prove it tonight, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about the bats. Schott goes 2 for 5 in this game. He's got 3 RBIs. Camarillo 2 for 4 in RBI. The hitters in this game, 6 strikeouts. You leave 12 on base. The 6 strikeouts, I can live with that. That means you're putting the ball in play. The 12 left on base, that will hurt you in SEC play. That will also hurt you in a game where your pitching staff isn't as good as it was in this win. Houston Christian scored their only 3 runs in the top of the 9th inning. So point here is the staff, aside from a few things which we'll discuss, was dominant in this game. So leaving 12 on base is going to lead to losses. You can't leave 12 on base. You just can't. That's just you can't do it. You got to get the big hit. I know Schott had a couple RBIs, some big hits in this game, but if you've got that many guys on base, you need more big hits. You need to keep adding them on. Now, you score 6 runs, you win this game by 3. I'm not going to sit here and yell at clouds about it, but I do think that's relevant. It will hurt you in SEC games if you are constantly leaving players on base. So the pitching staff, 4 walks. Okay, I can live with that, but 3 hit by pitches, 7 free bases. I don't love that. Morton, he hit 2 players, but he also gets 2 strikeouts, and that helps you put up scoreless innings. Strikeouts and then double play balls help you work around free bases. So Peary with the 2 walks and the hit by pitch, a bad day from him. What happens? 3 earned runs. 2 base on balls and a hit by pitch leads to 3 earned runs. This is what happens when you walk hitters. Those runs come around to score. Example right here. Morton was able to do a good job, work around a couple of walks. Not so much for Peary, who, 2 walks, one hit by pitch, 3 earned runs. I mean, I will sit here and hammer this down all day long. It can't happen. You can't give up free bases. Now, this is college baseball. You can't throw it down the middle and let them hit it. You still got to hit corners. You got to hit your spots. But at this level, you should be able to do that. Now, you're going to walk a couple guys. It's going to happen. You're going to have 2 or 3 walks a game. That's okay. I can live with that. You just can't be giving up 7 free bases a game. Those will come around to score. When you're in a pitcher's duel in SEC play, that will come back to bite you in the behind. You cannot give up that many free bases. So that's my takeaway from this game. Another midweek win. We keep seeing teams losing midweek games, and the Aggies have yet to do that. That's really going to help with RPI. It's going to help with hosting. It's an all-around great thing to continue to win midweek games. You don't want to drop those because it makes it harder to host if you stumble at all during SEC play. The Auburn Tigers are coming to town this weekend for what should be a good series. I think Auburn is a better baseball team than their 1-5 record in SEC play shows. It's going to be a good series at home. Same thing. Want to see the bats get at it, get after it early and often. Want to see the staff throw strikes, hit your spots. That's how you're going to win this game. So keep the Auburn Tigers off the base path via free bases. Don't let it happen. Make them put the ball in play. If you do that, you'll win this series. If you do that, I think you have a serious chance to sweep an Auburn baseball team that you're better than. So that's my thoughts from this game, thoughts for this weekend. The staff did have 10 strikeouts against Houston Chrisitan, so we'll take that, but cut down on the free bases. That is my only thought here. That's going to do it for today's episode of the Locked On Aggies podcast. I really appreciate y'all being here every single day. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. It helps the show a ton. Let me know y'all's thoughts on the corners in the comments. Am I crazy to trust Coach Bateman on that? Let me know in the YouTube comments. That's going to do it, though, for today's episode. Everybody have a great rest of your day today, and we will see you tomorrow.